Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Gonna do kind of a second response to a thread. I just did a video not too long ago that was like 10 of my favorite female artists, where I kept it kind of isolated to just kind of pop rock and didn't add any R&B in there. So now I'm just kind of back to do one with R&B. And to kind of narrow it down even more, I kind of kept it. I think maybe only one is not in this realm, but I kept it all to 80s R&B. Because number one, I didn't want to dive into all the 60s, 70s stuff and really try to figure out who to pull out there with Aretha Franklin and Etta James and just kind of on and on and on. And I think kind of 80s R&B doesn't get quite as much love in the VC as some of the other genres. So I thought this would be a kind of a good one. So I'm basing this off of one specific song by them that just, when I hear them in this particular song, it just kind of, just gives me the extra nice feeling. So anything I can do to kind of narrow it down more. So that's kind of how I came to these picks. So we'll start off here with the first one, which is Rose Royce. And here we're talking about Gwen Dickey is her name right there. I mean, a lot of people probably know Rose Royce off the bat by the song Car Wash. They were the one that did that. But they also had, like a lot of other great stuff like I Want to Get Next to You, which was awesome. I'm Going Down. And but the song I'm picking by Gwen off of this is the song Wishing on a Star. I just think it's just such a beautiful R&B ballad, and it's one of those things too where it's just kind of the soft smoothness of her voice. Like she's not going all over the place trying to show what she can do vocally. She's just holding a very, very smooth, heartfelt, kind of line, if you will, in her delivery. And it's absolutely fantastic, especially like the chorus and the hook. I mean, she just freaking nails it. So one of my favorite songs from the kind of the 80s R&B, and Gwen definitely had the voice to deliver it. The next one here, just again one of my absolute favorite bands from the 80s, which is the SOS band. Uh, so many great things that they put out, and it's just another one of those that just gives me like the epitome of what the great sound of 80s R&B was. Again, people, as far as hearing something off this album, most people probably have heard the song Just Be Good to Me, but I'm going with the song Tell Me If You Still Care. And Mary Davis is the female. So you're kind of right there. Where we at? Right there. That's her right there. She was the female vocalist. And in that song, it's actually kind of a male lead and a female lead. They take turns on the verse, kind of talking to each other. But I mean, everything she did with the SOS band is just so smooth, and that's my absolute favorite song. But like I said, if you just want to kind of hear her do her thing, she's the one that sang lead on "Just Be Good to Me" too. So another one that just really sums up that 80s R&B genre so well. And next here, my girl Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight and the Pips. And of course, if you're just doing the 60s and 70s, there's a ton of stuff you can pull by her there. But she also fits right into the 80s category with this album from 1987. And it's the song Love Overboard, which is really my favorite Gladys Knight song out of all the stuff that she's done. And it's just something about the groove of that song and the way that she delivers it. I mean, it's Gladys, and I just, man, that's one of those songs that when it comes on, I cannot sit still. I mean, at all. So, Love Overboard by Gladys Knight. I'm putting her as one of my favorites from that time frame. And then next we have Yarborough and Peoples, and this is The Two of Us. Another just kind of awesome classic album there. This is from 1980, and Alyssa Peoples, she was kind of the sang lead on a bunch of stuff there, and one of the tightest grooves from the 80s without question, which is Don't Stop the Music. And I mean, just between that synth groove and the way that she delivers, again, it's just like you couldn't ask her to do better than what she gave you on that song. And that one song alone, again, makes me have to put her in this discussion in terms of one of my favorite female deliveries on a song from the 80s R&B realm. Fantastic one there. And then kind of pulling something from the hip hop, even though maybe it's not necessarily 80s R&B. I feel like she needs to be mentioned. Uh, Roxanne Shantae. I mean, just one of the first ladies of hip hop. And I mean, anybody that even knows anything about the history of hip hop, they definitely put her as just one of the absolute pioneers. Definitely one of the first female rappers, and just again the whole nine. Stuff like Roxanne's Revenge, and just on and on and on. She did a lot of stuff with like her and UTFO, and even though it's not necessarily R&B, she's one that I have to say is definitely one of my favorite female R&B artists from the 80's. So I felt very comfortable putting her in this discussion as well. So yeah, Roxanne more than earns her way on that list. Next here, again, someone else who has a number of songs you can pick, but I'm going with Roberta Flack. And this is from the soundtrack Busting Loose, which was a hilarious movie with Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson. I think it's like right around 1980, 81 or something like that. But Roberta Flack has a song on here called Just When I Needed You, which again, is just one that when I listen to, it's just such a beautiful piece and beautiful delivery by her, which actually at the intro, I didn't know this for the longest time, Luther Vandross actually did the intro to the song. But if you're not familiar with that, definitely check it out, because like I said, it's just the smoothness of what Roberta Flack's voice comes out in that song, and I absolutely love it. Not to mention it's a hilarious movie as well. All right, so we got what, 4 more here. Now this is one of the ones that kind of jumps outside the 80's realm and kind of goes into the 90's. This is early 92. But I'm going to go with Sade. And this is her album Love Deluxe. And the song that I'm going with off of this is Bulletproof Soul, which is absolutely my favorite Sade song. Not one of the bigger mainstream hits and all that kind of stuff, but Bulletproof Soul is just one of those songs that just truly moves me. And I think with all the stuff she does, it matches her voice as well as any song that she ever did. Just because there's kind of a slow, not necessarily darkness, but intense nature to the song, or like a very creeping, again, really hard to describe notes and that type of thing, but that's kind of the feel of the song. And that monotone type of delivery that Sade has just rolls perfect over top of it. Not to mention kind of like the background vocals that's doing the harmonies with her in different areas. It's just absolutely perfect. So yeah, so that's 92, so a little bit out of the 80's there, but I'm definitely want to put that one on my list because Bulletproof Soul is just that amazing. And again, here we have Stephanie Mills, another one of the legends from the 80's kind of R&B scene. And this is her album, Tantalizingly Hot. What year was that? 1982. And the song on here is Last Night. Again, one of my favorite songs by her, and it really kind of displays her voice very well of what you catch from a lot of her other music. I could have also picked her other album that had like I Never Knew Love Like This, because that was kind of a very big hit for her as well, but I think I like Last Night a little bit better. But yeah, Stephanie Mills was definitely, I mean, she definitely made her mark. Maybe she could have got a little bit bigger than she was, but she's definitely a legend in the R&B scene back in the 80's. And I think she really kind of started her career on Broadway when she did, she was the lead in The Wiz on Broadway. And it's kind of sucks too, because when they decided to turn The Wiz into the movie The Wiz with Michael Jackson and Nipsey Russell and all of that, like she was really the motivation for doing that, and she was supposed to be the lead until Diana Ross came about. And if you know anything about the history of Diana Ross, she was very much kind of a selfish, always putting her way out in front and kind of always working her way through dating Berry Gordy to get everything. And so she kind of worked her way into being the lead in The Wiz when it was technically, I think, supposed to be Stephanie Mills. So, I guess you can say in that context, anyone that Diana Ross has to push out to get their spot, Stephanie was kind of a bad girl. But anyway, last 2 here. I'm going to go with Sherelle. And this is from her album High Priority. And I'm going with the song Saturday Love. I mean, I could go with You Look Good to Me as well, but Saturday Love is definitely my ultimate jam with her and Alexander O'Neal. And so again, Sherelle is one of those ones where it's not like she had the most amazing voice ever kind of thing, but it's just with the type of R&B she was doing and what she put out. Like I talk about, this thread is all about hitting the good vibe in me. It's not necessarily judging who the best singer was. And I mean, she had stuff like "I Didn't Mean to Turn You On." You know, she did a cover of that. And like I said, "You Look Good to Me," definitely another great one there. But yes, "Saturday Love" is my absolute jam with her and Alexander O'Neal. So she makes my list for one of my favorite 80s R&B female singers. And last but not least, one of the queens of 80s R&B, got to throw her in here, Evelyn Champagne King. I mean, just again, just one of those absolute legends, especially with kind of that more dancey, upbeat type of R&B. And you know, she had a great song on here, "Bet You She Don't Love You," which might be my favorite song by her, but I'm going with the song "Love Come Down" off of this because again, it shows the beauty of her voice in terms of that more upbeat, poppy R&B dance type of thing, and she kills it on that song. So that song puts her on my list as one of my favorite 80s R&B female artists. So there you go, VC. There's a couple of picks there, but like I said, I tried to kind of narrow it down more, just talk about the individual songs and necessarily the absolute best singers from that point in time. But I think maybe I'll try to come back later and maybe do one on 60s, 70s females, maybe one on country, something like that. But yeah, as always, let me know what you think. Always great chatting with you guys, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.